The first Satans, the Watchers, and Nephilim. Last week we talked about the forbidden knowledge of heaven and how the Watchers taught mankind that knowledge. The Watchers, who were the fallen sons of God, lusted after the daughters of men and created families, and their monstrous children were the Nephilim. The Nephilim, better known as the giants in the Bible, were the union of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against the birds, and beasts, and reptiles, and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. The early age of man during Enoch's time can only be described as a place of violence and blood, while at the same time a place where the sons of God walked among man, teaching them the forbidden knowledge of both magic and warfare. Not only was the time of Enoch an age of sorcery and magic, the unholy union of the sons of God and the daughters of man tyrannized the earth. Before the sons of God decided to act on their lusts, they gathered together, since Samyaza, the leader of the Watchers, were afraid that the other Watchers would back out, and that he would take all the blame for the great sins they planned to commit. The Watchers responded to Samyaza with, "Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves to mutual curses, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing." The Watchers tried to mitigate the amount of punishment they would receive. It is interesting to try and understand why the Watchers would think that their actions would sway God's decision in any way, yet they were all too eager and joined oaths of mutual curses anyways. The actions of both the Watchers and the Nephilim had bloody consequences on mankind. The victims of the knowledge of the Watchers and the barbarity of the cannibalistic giants cried unto heaven, to the very gates of God's throne room. The archangels, hearing the cries of the victims, requested God to take action. God was slow to punish the Watchers, but when God made the decision to act, God did not hesitate, nor waver in his decision to wipe the earth of the sin of the Watchers. God said unto Uriel, "Go to Noah, and tell him, in my name hide thyself, and reveal unto him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the earth, and will destroy all that is on it." Unto Raphael, "Bind Azazel's hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in the Dudale, and cast into the fire. Place unto him rough and jagged rocks, cover him up with darkness, let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. On the day of judgment he shall be cast into the fire." Through the works taught by Azazel, to him ascribe all sin. To Gabriel, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, against the children of the fornication, and destroy the children of the Watchers from amongst men. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle, for length of days shall they not have. And no request that they make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for the hope to live in eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. Unto Michael, go, bind Samyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, to the day of their judgment, of their consummation, to the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days shall be led off to the abyss of fire, to the torment and to the prison in which they shall be confined forever. God's punishment of the Watchers and the Nephilim is swift. God's first command is to bind Azazel, who he assigned all blame, despite the mutual curse of the Watchers to share the blame. The next punishment of God was against the Nephilim. God forced the Watchers to watch their own children fight and kill one another, until the rest are destroyed by the flood. God also forbid the wish of the Watchers, which was to allow their children to be immortal like the angels, but instead God condemned the Nephilim, forbidding them from entering heaven. Lastly, God bound the Watchers for 70 generations, and they are bound on the earth until the day of judgment, where they will be thrown into the pit of fire for all eternity. As the 70 generations passed, have the Watchers been released? Do the Watchers walk the earth once more? What about the Nephilim that are forbidden from going to heaven? Do their spirits still haunt humanity as they did in the age of the Watchers? Where do you think the Watchers and the Nephilim are today? Let me know in the comments below, and for more supernatural history, like and subscribe.